Hello? Oh, hi, darling.
Half a world away, another day. So let's go play on the moon. It's a starry place. We embrace the space while we're miles away on the moon.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of On the Other Line. I'm your host, Kelly Keegs. What's going on? How are we all feeling? It's a Wednesday. Wednesdays, I complain about this every fucking week, that I'm so tired. I am so tired, but there's something about Wednesdays, I've been thinking about this recently, that it feels, like, I know everybody's like, oh, hump day, like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It does feel like we're at the peak of a really long slide. It feels like tomorrow and the rest of the weekend, just like it starts tomorrow. Like, I'm gonna leave this place and I'm gonna go home and drink a bottle of wine, because why not? If I'm hungover tomorrow, what does it matter? Like, it's the weekend. So I feel like that's where I stand at the moment on Wednesdays, and generally just on life. And I'm excited for the bottle of wine. I can't lie, that's what I'm most excited for. I've been looking forward to it all day. Like, I feel like I said last week, I forget when I was talking about it, about I had to rank, we posted the clip today, I had to rank like sex, drugs, and alcohol, and I put alcohol as number one, and looking back at that clip, is like, maybe I shouldn't have put it as number one. Like, really, I don't drink that often by myself, like whatever, like I explained. And the amount of excitement that I've had all day for this bottle of wine makes me confident in my choice as putting it number one. It was just the only thing to do. Today, we're gonna be talking about dating etiquette. I got a billion DMs. We'll see if we can go through them all. That was amazing, and I loved it, and I appreciate it. But if you are wanting to call live on the show, we are live today, so you can call 888-786-6522. That'll be fantastic. Gia, what's going on over there? How are you guys in the booth?
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey. We have a good squad today.
Yes, great squad today.
Love it.
We're a bit tired today.
It's a tired day. You know, it's a little gloomy out. Whenever it's gloomy, it makes me tired as well.
I don't know what it is. Like, I haven't done anything, like, at night. Like, I didn't, like, stay up late. I think last night I went to bed at, like, midnight.
Mm-hmm. Normal.
I didn't get up too early.
Yeah.
And I'm pooped.
It feels like constant exhaustion. Like,
Yeah.
it's something is sweeping the city, because I had my like bachelorette party extravaganza, and then I haven't done anything since then. I went to one brunch, and like that was it.
Maybe
And
it's
I'm
like
exhausted.
The late summer, like, slow down,
Like
you
a
know? Like,
slump.
the summer has kind of tired us out, and we're
Yeah.
ready for, like, fall.
It's true. It is true. We had that nice taste of no humidity the past
Yeah.
couple of days. Even right now, it's pretty nice out. Like, I'm happy with the temperature. Like, I'm walking around in pants and this shirt. Granted, this is like, you know, see-through, but it's nice. I like it more than sweating my dick off. I hate sweating. I hate when my makeup runs down my face. I hate when it melts off my body. It's just like the worst feeling in the world. So, you know. But good. How are you? How was your weekend? What did you do? What did you get into? I feel like I saw you kind of raging.
I was at the Jersey Shore for the first
Oh, yeah,
time.
that's right.
Yes.
What?
Well, not the first time, sorry. The first
okay.
time going out.
I was going to say, what the fuck?
Yes,
The first
yes,
time.
yes.
All right, where did you go? I saw
went
DJs maybe?
to Columns
Love Columns.
and Jenks. And
Fabulous.
I would live the rest of my life at Jenks.
Jenks is the hotspot all of a sudden.
It's
like, I can't
so
believe
fun.
Jenks, nobody gave a fuck about Jenks. Like, nobody went there ever. And in the past 2 years or so, people have been packing that place to the fucking brim. Like, I've never seen a line down the Jersey Shore like I have at Jenks. I've never seen
God, it was
a place
crazy.
packed so hard.
Yeah.
The only other place I would say it gets just as packed, but it's not as big, is Osprey, and nobody like goes there anymore.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. They
My
have great
brother said the
music.
same thing. He was like, literally no one would even bother to go to Jenks. But I guess now people
Yeah.
are kind of tired of Osprey, Parker
Totally.
House, like that kind of vibe. So
Totally.
it just it's so big, and
huge.
you
It's
just
huge.
get
It's
a
on the
wide
beach.
array of
Yeah.
people. Like,
You can fuck around on the boardwalk
Yeah.
after, like when you're
Yes.
drunk. Like, that's yeah. Which is an underratedly very fun thing to do, is fuck
Yeah.
around on the boardwalk when you've had a few drinks. Love doing that.
it was
But
so much fun. We had a great time. It was
good,
hilarious.
Good. I'm happy to hear it. I love hearing that. I think that I think my Jersey Shore days for the summer are over. There aren't that many weekends left regardless, but yeah, I think I embarrassed myself enough in the month of July that I'll see the shore next year maybe, you know what I mean? I was supposed to go down to see my grandparents, and then I wasn't able to. My Nana had to get her knee fixed, whole thing. So I'm worried to lose my tan. I don't want to lose my tan. I still feel bronze, but I'm not quite as tan as I was. So, you know, it's like I got to squeeze it all in. But whatever, you know. a good thing about caring about what you look like, caring about your tan, is I feel better if I'm walking into a date with a tan. I feel exponentially better. I think that there are a few things that we can do or say, or a few ways we can act to make dating painless. I feel like it's a fucking nightmare. Like I am not a dater because it's so miserable. And so I'm like coming at you guys today and with this topic from like a place of complete negativity. Like I want to be optimistic about the idea of dating, but it sounds truly like death knocking on my door. Like it sounds so terrible. But I was thinking a little bit, I couldn't come up with the whole 5. I only came up with 3 things because the bar is that low. And the things that I came up with were the most important things on a date is number 1, be nice. Just be nice. Why does anybody have such a hard time being nice? Why does anybody have a hard time it's one thing to go into a date and keep your guard up so you don't get like your feelings hurt, but it's another thing to go into a date acting as if like they're lucky to be there when you're not like feeling the same. Like you don't also feel lucky to be there with them. Like you can't just walk in and be like, ugh, this guy's lucky to be here with me, or like this girl's lucky that I'm even taking her out, or I'm paying for the meal so I can act however I want. No, you have to be nice. Just like don't start off with like negging comments or the kind of playful teasing. Like don't start off with that. Like don't gauge somebody first before you do that, because I mean, speaking as myself, I like that sometimes when I'm in the mood. Like I'll be teasy, I'll make jokes, I'll like poke fun, whatever, for sure, all the time. But sometimes I'm not in the fucking mood for that. And if you say the wrong thing to me, like if you make fun of my outfit or you like make a joke about like whatever and I'm not in the right mood, I'll bitch you out. Like I will have a bad time, my mood will change, it'll feel like shit. So just be nice. It's not that hard, I don't think, to do that. The second thing I was thinking of that I would really enjoy is just to seem engaged in the conversation. I think that it's not so hard to at least pretend that you're listening. Active listeners are appreciated. You don't be like Gabby on The Bachelorette, where all you do is nod your head and say yeah every 5 seconds, because she seems to me like an active listener, but it almost all her yeahs and head nodding make it seem like she's actually not an active listener, because she's like spending so much time yeahing us to death and nodding her head. Like it seems like she's glazed over it and just doing that automatically. I don't think that's too much to ask. Like just be engaged in the conversation, know what you're talking about, act like you're listening. I don't think it's so impossible to just enjoy casual conversation. Like it shouldn't be pulling teeth. And I feel like a lot of dates, people show up and they're nervous or they don't know what they're gonna talk about or whatever, and maybe it kind of seems awkward at first, but you gotta get past the like awkwardness. You have to get past that, like you have to work a little bit to get past that point. I am a person who, another reason I don't like dating is because I hate the getting to know you part of dating. I feel like everybody loves that part. That's all anybody ever talks about. It's like, oh my God, the getting to know you is so fun. That's the best time, the honeymoon, like whatever. I don't think that's a honeymoon at all. I think it's so annoying when I have to retell all my fucking stories. I have to explain all my trauma. I have to explain like my life, my family, my friends, where I went to school, like blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm so fucking bored of saying that all the time. Like I'll talk about it on podcasts, I'll talk about whatever, I'll reference it casually. But even now, I've talked about it on enough shows, enough podcasts, that I don't really need to repeat these stories unless I want to give like a little bit of background info that I'm worried that somebody hasn't heard it. Like most times people know what I'm fucking talking about, so I don't have to re-explain it, which is great. But when you go out on a date or you go out with people, that tends to happen all the time, and it's just my least favorite fucking part. So I feel like seeming engaged enough to make that as painless as possible is important. I feel like that's something that we gotta deal with. The last on my list is just to ask questions. I very much like when people ask questions of me. Like I like when people wonder how I'm thinking about things. Not necessarily ask questions like, where are you from? What are your parents like? Whatever. Like ask those too for sure. But like I said, I hate that shit just because it like makes me bored. But ask questions about your interests. Ask questions about how you care. Like, how is it that you're caring so much about this? Or who are your favorite music artists? Who are your favorite like TV shows? Why do you like them so much? What is interesting about it? Like get involved in that way, because I feel like when you hear someone's thoughts or their thought process as to how they arrived at one conclusion or whatever, I feel like that is interesting to me. Like that tells me more about a person than like where they fucking came from, where they went to school, what's their favorite meal, like shit like that. It's like, all right, anybody can know those favorite things, but to really know somebody and to really be engaging in a conversation, you ask questions and whatever, but the questions that you ask can tell you a lot more about them. I just feel like that's important. I was looking up before this, I was trying to figure out like, where are we in as far as dating goes in the year 2022? Like, what are people doing right now? Are people still on apps? The answer is yes. It seems like everybody, it seems like Tinder, you shouldn't even try. This is what I've gathered from the internet. Tinder is just for fucking. Like, don't even attempt to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend on there. It's literally just for fucking. Bumble seems to be the hot spot. That's like the, you know, the relationship maker. People say that it's fine, but it's a little, from my friends who are on Bumble, they say shit like they see the same guys all the time. Like they'll go away, they'll maybe turn their Bumble off, they're maybe in a relationship, and then they get back on Bumble and then they see the same fucking crop of guys like on Bumble. So that's the only complaint that I hear about that. I know Raya is okay. Raya is the only dating app that I have had in my life, and it's fine. I would say that it's like a, I don't know. I can't tell if the quality of people is good. I did see Lil Dicky on there one time, and he didn't match me back, so that was unfortunate. But yeah, it was nice. It was like cool to see him. So like there are celebs on there, I guess. But at the same time, like it's just a lot of people who kind of think that they're important, and you wonder like, how the fuck did you get on to Raya? Like, isn't this supposed to be for celebrities and rich people? And then I think about it, I'm like, well, I'm on it, so clearly it's not for celebrities and rich people. It's for people who like think they have clout and they come on. And that is pretty much the exact case on Raya. I've been on 2 Raya dates, like I don't know, a year ago, right before. I don't know, like right after COVID started letting up a little bit, I went on a couple dates. One of them was a fucking disaster. I got way too drunk, and I just like was slugging champagne and just like spilling all my secrets. Like I just was so nervous that I just was talking a ton. And the guy I went on a date with, I think was really nice, but I don't think he knew really what to make of me. I just like didn't shut the fuck up once. So maybe don't talk constantly. Like, I know that we have some people in our DMs later that are like, make sure that you talk as much, or make sure they talk as much as you talk. Like, don't over talk them. And I'm a bad over talker. I do that everywhere I go. I'm talking over people. I just want to make sure that like I'm heard. I feel like there's always the case where I'm with, I have a lot of different groups of friends, and one of my groups of friends is very loud. We're all really loud. We're all really involved. We're all like want to be the center of attention. I can't get a fucking word in with that group of people. I have to shout. It is so hard to even be heard. And it kind of feels like that way at Barstool too. Like everybody's loud. Everybody wants to be heard. So we all just talk over each other all day long. But I have to remember that I don't need to fight for airtime on a date. Like that's not something that translates. It's really ridiculous. So, you know, that's just something to keep in mind. I think, oh yeah, I'm trying to think. The second date that I went on was really nice. The guy was super nice. We went to like a cute little dinner, whatever. It actually was this day that I signed my full-time contract at Barstool. So I was coming off of this high, being like, oh my fucking God, like here I am. Like I get to say like I work at Barstool full-time and I'm going to this date. I'm gonna look so fucking cool. And it was a really nice time. We had a great time until he started talking about how he had just had a serious girlfriend, that they lived together, and they broke up and moved out, and he was really upset about it, but the reason that they did all of that is because she didn't want kids. And I was like, well, boy, I also don't want kids. I had to be like, oh, that sucks. And he was like, yeah, she always said that she didn't want them, but I thought maybe she'd come around, and then it turns out she never did, and whatever. And I felt really bad, because I was like, damn, you are great, but you found another bitch who doesn't want kids. Like, I'm not even close, not even considering it. I probably won't ever. Like, it's just that kind of vibe. And so, yeah, that soured me on him immediately. But then, like, he got COVID, and then so did I, so I never had to see him again. It was like a seamless ghost. But I felt bad about it because he was really nice. But so I guess it's not so bad using the apps or doing all that shit, and you can find good conversations. But yeah, you're very nervous when you go into them. You're very nervous in that aspect. And I just feel like it takes a little bit of practice. Like I can't express how fucking nervous I was for that first date, because that was my first time going on a date through a dating app, and I just was like, I'm gonna fuck this up so bad. I like made it at a restaurant 500 feet from my apartment, so I could like leave in a hurry if I needed to, if I like passed out or something, because I was so nervous. Like it was so dramatic. And so, you know, if you are weird about the apps like I am, then I would say like give them a try. I don't know, it seems to be the only way that people are hanging out. Like the way that I've met people always is like either through work, at work, like through the internet a little bit. Like anybody that I've dated in the past decade has been loosely associated with at least one group of one group of my friends, whether it's work, whether it's home friends, school friends, like whatever it is, that's kind of how it's happened. But I guess it is like kind of hard to meet people. So I don't really know what the solution is to that, but it's pretty tough. But let's take a break real quick, and then we'll come back to the rules of dating, which I also found on the internet. Welcome back to On the Other Line. I'm your host, Kelly Keegs. We're talking dating etiquette tonight. Date all kinds of dates. Whatever kind of dates you want to talk about, we're talking about it tonight. Call in if you'd like, 888-786-6522. Okay, let us get into this. So I was Googling, like I said, as always, as I do before these shows. I fucking love to Google shit. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I love to know everything. Like, all I want to do is know everything on earth. Like, can I retain it? Probably not. As I said, I'm drinking a bottle of wine later. I'll forget everything that I learned. However, I love the ability to Google stuff. And I was thinking about it recently the other day when I was watching a movie. I must have Googled during the movie 45 times, like that actor, oh, that actress, that actor, whatever. I remember, I know who they are, I know what's going on, or oh, who directed this film? Oh, where was this shot? Oh, blah, 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 blah. It's like, why can't I just sit and fucking watch something and just enjoy it? I have to Google 1,000 times. It's just who I am. So I Googled this. I Googled like, what are the rules of dating in 2022? Like I said, I was looking up the dating app thing. A lot of people are on dating apps still. They're still hot in the streets. Throw Tinder in the garbage, pump up Bumble, try to get on Raya. That's, I think, pretty much like where it all goes. These are the rules of dating as per Google. Number one is date multiple people at once. Now, I have heard about this for a long time. This is something that they really push to women. They're always like, date multiple guys at the same time because you know that the guys are definitely talking to multiple girls, and that way you don't get your feelings hurt. I don't know how people do this. I don't know how you can date, like actually date multiple people at a time. Like I don't have the capacity. Number one, I don't care about enough people in that way. Like if I have 3 guys on my dick, I don't necessarily want to like hang out with all these guys. Like it's almost too much. It's like, stop, like get away from me. Like I'm not gonna remember all your stories. I don't actually care about this. I'm not investing my time in this. There's always gonna be a favorite. There's always gonna be like, your feelings are always gonna get hurt. Like I don't understand like this idea that dating multiple people will be able to like stave off your feelings so you don't get your feelings hurt. I don't think that it works. But everybody's always saying that, and I know that guys have no problem with it. Guys seem to be fine with it, but girls have a real hard time dating multiple people. And I think that when you do that, it just becomes like a chore. It becomes work. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta go to this dinner. I'm dating this other guy, and like, tomorrow night I got drinks, and then the night after or the day after I have brunch. It's just like, yes, it fills up your social calendar, sure, but I don't know. Like that's 3 fucking outfits in a row that I have to pick out. That's 3 days in a row. I gotta put a full face of makeup. I gotta blow my hair out. I gotta do all this bullshit. Like it's just like 1 date a week is too much already. Like it's just, I don't know how people do that, but I guess it works. I mean, if you're, and I'm talking like dating, going on dates, like hanging out, like doing shit like that. I'm not talking like talking to people. Like you should be talk to whoever you want to talk to. Like I feel like unless you're engaged, talk to whoever you want to talk to. Like nobody, people shouldn't be like going through people's phones at this point in your life, like the shit like that, whatever. Like if you know that you're not in a relationship, then do whatever the fuck you want. Like it really doesn't matter. So I feel like that is different. But if you're like planning hangouts weekly with 3 different people at a time, like how do you have the energy? How would anybody have the energy? The next one is keep the dates short. I agree with this. I like this very much. I think that most times when you go on a date, again, like I said, you're nervous. You have to play the catch-up game. You have to do all this other bullshit. First dates is really, I feel like they're just something you have to get out of the way and get all the awkwardness out of the way. And I don't want that to go on for 3 fucking hours, unless I'm having a great time. Like if I go to a place and I go to have dinner, a dinner date is like kind of a nightmare. I very much like drinks and maybe some light apps. Like it's non-threatening. It's just a little bite. I always like to, if I'm at a place where there's food, I'm ordering food. I'm not necessarily ordering a fucking entree, but I'm definitely at least getting chips and guac or chips and salsa or some kind of dip. I just like a dip, you know what I mean? And, or like, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to think of other apps that are delicious, but dumplings, like all those things are great. And, you know, maybe some bubbles. But I think that keeping the date short kind of lets you gauge how you feel at the end of it. Like if you were there for 2 hours and it flies by, you're like, oh my God, that went by so fast. Like I had so much fun. Can't wait to make another plan. Like, you know, take an inch, give a mile, you know what I mean? And I feel like if you're on a 2-hour date and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, this is really dragging on. I want nothing to do with it. Like, I wish I could go home. That's kind of an indicator as to like, I'm not gonna call this person again. Like that's the end of it. So I like keep the date short. I also like, if the date is short, the date is over, maybe if you had a really good time, you go out for more. Like you go to another location, you go to another bar, another quick drink, maybe you go catch like a band somewhere or whatever. Like that's always kind of a fun option if you leave your night a little open-ended. Okay. Be upfront about wanting a relationship. Yes, for sure. I think that this is a lot harder than like this article wants to relay. I think that that the conversation you have about wanting to be in a relationship can't be had on like a first date. Like I feel like you can't walk into the first date and be like, yeah, man, I'm just like looking for my fucking wife. I'm trying to find my husband. Like you can't come in like that, because kind of like this guy that I went on that date with, he came in first fucking date, was like, yeah, was dating this girl, we broke up, she didn't want kids, and that's something that I really want in my life. And like date one, I was like, all right, well, I'll never see you again because I don't want this burden of now getting to know you. Maybe we have a wonderful life together. Maybe we move in together. Maybe we're in love. Maybe our families click. Maybe we're amazing. But ultimately, I still don't want kids. So I don't want to have to put anybody through that ringer. But at the same time, I don't know. It's just, I mean, I guess it didn't waste my time. I'm going over this in my head in real time. I can't quite decide how I feel about this. Be upfront about wanting a relationship. I personally would never go into a first date and say anything about a relationship. I would be like, you know, we're testing the waters. I don't really know what the fuck is going on here. We'll see how it goes. But definitely when it gets to the point of like we've been on several dates, we hang out in the daylight, we sleep over each other's houses, maybe there's like a toothbrush somewhere, like at that point you're fully dating, borderline relationship, and at that point you have to be upfront, like I want you to be my boyfriend, I want you to be my girlfriend, like that is the moment where you have to bear it all, I guess. The next one is avoid talking about exes on early dates. Ugh. This is also tough, that poor guy. I keep going back to this one guy who just like told me his whole life story on day one. And I agree with this completely. I think that, yeah, early dates. No, I think I agree with this completely. I don't need to know about your psycho bullshit date one. Like, I definitely want to know about exes. I want to know about relationships past. Like, I am interested in that information. But true, it doesn't have to be night one. We don't have to immediately jump into like all your trauma. We don't immediately have to jump into like, who do I need to stalk on Instagram? Like, don't make me after one date be like pissed off and jealous of your ex that I'm gonna stalk on Instagram later that night. Like, don't even tell me her name, because I'm gonna look her up and I'm gonna be pissed off when I see her. Like, no matter what she looks like, no matter who she is, it's gonna piss me off. So I feel like you have to wait a little bit before bringing that up for sure. And I don't know. Oh, what a nightmare, right? Like, I wish that whenever you break up with somebody, I wish that they just never existed in your life. Like, I just wish that they were gone. Not that like, oh, I value the time we had together. I value the lessons learned. Sure, whatever. But I just wish that they would fall off the face of the earth. Like, just completely leave the planet, so you don't ever have to worry about running into them. You don't have to worry about like them coming back in your life. You don't have to worry about someone coming back in someone else's life. Because out here, like, I'm always worried about bitches coming back into guys' lives and like taking them from me or whatever. But at the same time, like, I'm not guilty of that on the other side, but I have people knocking on my door every once in a while, come back around here and there, and I entertain it. Not that I'm thinking long term, being like, oh wow, I'm gonna break up with so-and-so so I can get back together with whoever, but I'm very much like, you know, I like the attention. The attention is what kind of gets you there. So I feel like if you think about it in the reverse, like if you think about how you feel when ex-boyfriends reach out to you and how you talk to them or whatever, if you are equally comfortable knowing that that same thing is happening to whoever it is you're dating, then you're in a good spot. That's something that I'm always trying to tell myself. Like, bitch, you're guilty. Like, if you're naming this person as guilty or you're claiming that they're guilty of something, you're guilty of exactly the same thing. Like, you can't be hypocritical. And I feel like when exes get involved, people start to get hypocritical. So, you know, yeah, maybe wait a little bit for that. The next one's, don't feel obligated to send a thank you text. I'm gonna say no to this one. I say that obviously you have to send a thank you text. Obviously you have to, it doesn't matter which side sends it first. Like, somebody has to send either a thank you for the drinks, thank you for the dinner, thank you for coming out with me, thank you for spending time with me. There has to be an exchange of thank yous. Like, it should not be, I'll also say, there shouldn't be one thank you. It shouldn't be like me texting a guy, thank you so much for drinks tonight, I had a really good time. Like, I should get in response, thank you so much for coming out with me. I shouldn't get oh, you're welcome, yeah, it was cool. Like, I should get a full thank you. There should be thank yous exchanged. We have taken up each other's time, and that deserves thanks, in my opinion. So I don't agree with this. Don't feel obligated to send a thank you text. Always send a thank you text. Give them 2 weeks to reach out again. That's way too much fucking time. way too much time. 2 weeks? You're gonna not speak to this person for 2 weeks? You're gonna wait 2 weeks for them to reach out? That's fucking insane. 2 weeks is an eternity. Like, I was just talking about 2 weeks ago at the beginning of the show, talking about my bachelorette extravaganza. That sounds like a fucking month ago. Like, that happened a month ago. That happened in a different life. 2 weeks is a long fucking time. Do not wait that long. Like, I would never wait for somebody that long. Like, that's fucking insane. I feel like it's like 2-3 days tops to at least hear from them again, to like either make another plan or chit chat. Like, I'm not saying you have to text every fucking day. I'm not saying you have to text like through the night, all day, talk about the date continuously, but when you send the thank you text, be like, oh, I'll text you in a couple days, maybe we'll plan another date. Like, in that 2 week span, you should be chit-chatting a little bit over text, maybe even a phone call, and plan another date in that time. Don't fucking wait around with your thumb in your ass for somebody to call you after 2 weeks. That's outrageous. Outrageous. This one says, wait at least a few dates to have sex. I also don't agree with this one. I mean, it works for some people, it doesn't work for others. Withholding sex, I think withholding sex is annoying. I think that I'm not somebody, and this isn't me like bragging, like, oh, I fuck. Like, this is not me saying that. I just think that, like, if you want to have sex and you are on a first date and you're having a good time and the night goes great and you end up going to a secondary location and then you end up back at somebody's house and you want to fuck. Like, why would you tell yourself, no, I can't, because if I have sex right now, like, they're not going to call me back. If you waited 3 weeks to have sex with this motherfucker and he doesn't call you, he's still not gonna call you back. Like, if all he was in it for was the sex, you're gonna waste your time and then he's not gonna call you. Or you're just gonna have sex and he doesn't call you and you can find out what an actual asshole that he is. Like, do you wanna find out right now or do you wanna find out in 3 weeks? That's the only concern I would have for like having sex too early after dating somebody. And I just don't think that it should even be a concern. Like, if the person you're dating is not cool with that, then they're not for you. You know what I mean? That's just insane. I think that like, I don't know, I guess keeping them on the hook or leaving them on a little bit is fine, like flirty, whatever. But like I said, if you want to fuck on the first date, fuck on the first date. So whatever. Let's hit a break real quick and then we'll come back and read the rest of this list. Hello everyone, welcome back. On the other line, I'm your host, Kelly Keegs. If you want to call in and talk about dating etiquette tonight, call in 888-78, no. Yeah, 888-786-6522. Wow. It's really hard to remember phone numbers now. Like this, I don't ever have to remember any phone numbers because they're all on my phone. I was thinking about this the other day. It's a real problem because I have, my mom and I are on the same phone plan because when I was in like the 9th grade, I threw a fit and like wanted Verizon because Verizon was the hotness. They had unlimited texting. AT&T is what we had before. You still had to pay like 10 cents a text. My parents were like beating my ass over all the texts I was sending, so I wanted Verizon so bad. And as a birthday gift, my mom got me my own Verizon cell phone, but my dad like refused to leave AT&T. I don't know why, but so the two of us were on one phone plan. My dad was on another, and then when it was time for my brother to get his phone, they put it on my dad's, and now we're all on Verizon, but like 2 separate plans. I don't know why that is. It's like still so ridiculous. And yes, I'm still obviously on my mom's phone plan. If you aren't still on your parents' phone plan, like, I don't know. That sucks, but whatever. Anyway, I forget why I was even saying that. I don't even know why I told that story. Doesn't matter. Regardless, we got a DM in the middle of the show from a girl who calls in normally. Her name is Courtney, and she actually DMs me all the time. I don't know if she's called a bunch, but she DMs me a lot. She says this, hey gang, can't call in because I'm watching Jeopardy, but I used to. Damn, are we fighting with Jeopardy? Fuck, I can't argue against Jeopardy. Watching Jeopardy, but I used to be a sugar baby in college, and I went on one date with a sugar daddy, and had to ghost him immediately. He spent the entire date talking shit about every single one of his exes since he was 12. This man was at least 56. I told him one true thing about me, that I like sports, and he spent the whole rest of the date trying to quiz me to see if I actually knew anything. To end the date, he handed me $200 and said, here you go, daughter, daddy loves you. I grabbed the cash and waited in the bar to be sure the coast was clear. That is crazy. I'll tell you what, with this new like fast life I'm living on OnlyFans with all these fucking creeps and stuff, it makes me think about like the broader seediness that happens online and like all the sugar daddy stuff. And I have another close friend of mine that is like a sugar baby, and she doesn't do anything. She like goes to lunch with one guy, and he like all they do is go to lunch like once a month, and he pays for all of her shit. It is kind of like, what a racket. But I could never do that because I could never feign interest in like an old man. Like I just couldn't do it. And even if they are like 56, like that's too old. That's too old for me to feign interest. Like I cap it at 40 probably. Like that's well within my dating range. I'm about to be 32. Like I feel like 40 isn't so crazy, but 50, 56, it's too much. I can't listen to your bullshit. And they do, like older men like that will treat you like you're so young and so stupid and like quiz you on dumb shit and whatever. So like that's a nightmare. But generally speaking, like that reaction to that date, like sure it was a sugar baby, sugar daddy situation, but a lot of guys will act like that on a first date or on any date. They'll try to like, I don't know if they're trying to like flex knowledge or like prove you wrong. It's like they don't believe you when you say things. Like just to be like, oh, I like sports. It's like, oh, really? Prove it. Why? Why do I have to prove that I like sports? I watch the TV. Just because I can't name every single player in every single league, it doesn't mean that I don't like sports. Like it's just, that's fucking stupid. That'd be like if somebody were to come up to me, like if I'm like, oh, I watched The Bachelor, and they'll be like, oh, really? So do I. Like, what about this? What about this? And quiz me on it. It's like, why are you fucking quizzing me on this? This is stupid. And like, what point are you trying to prove here? It makes no fucking sense. So fuck that guy. Props to that girl for even going through with it. I wouldn't. Next on our list of the rules of dating, we have don't freak out about who pays. Now, I think I got a DM similar to this that we'll look at in a little bit, and I thought it was really interesting. I, as a spoiled bitch, a spoiled woman, have never like paid for myself on a date. Like I feel like it's always assumed that they're paying for a date. I always am like, I'll fake like fumble for my, let me get my wallet, or like, oh, is the bill here? Like, oh my, just kind of act stupid because why not? And at that point, that's when the guy is like, oh no, I got this. That's kind of how it goes. But somebody said something like, whoever asked for the date should pay for the date. And I do actually agree with that. Like if I'm hounding some guy to go on a date with me, I have to at least say, yeah, whoever asks should pay. Yes, thank you. And I feel like whoever, I feel like that's kind of fine. I've been on, I wouldn't say dates, but I've been out with friends or like with a guy where I have suggested like, oh, let's go to the movies, or let's go to the bar, let's do whatever. And like, we end up splitting it usually. Like it'll be like, oh, I'll grab the tickets, and like, I'll buy the popcorn, you get drinks at the bar beforehand, or you get drinks wherever. Like it always ends up like, it feels a lot more organic than it should, or no, not than it should, but like, it should feel more organic than people seem to think it is. Like, I guess I'm lucky I've never run into this problem where I've had to like pick up a fucking bill. 9 times out of 10, my account is overdrawn. So I don't think that if I'm on a date, I'm saying yes to everything for sure. If I'm on a date and somebody expects me to pay, I'll be like, oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't have any money. Like, what are you talking about? Like, there's no way I'm paying for this. Like, that's always just how like I'll end up talking for me. But I feel like, there shouldn't be so much pressure on it. Like everybody's so freaked out about it. Everybody's always like up in arms about who's paying for what. Like, is it a power trip? Am I not a feminist if I don't pay for my own meal, or if I don't at least offer to split it? It's like, who cares? You're getting a couple drinks. It's awkward. You're getting to know you. Whoever has the $50 that you're spending on these couple of drinks, just pay the bill and move on. Don't stress so much. The last thing on this list is that they have feel free to do some of the planning yourself. I love this one. I think that a lot of the time I will have high expectations for a date or for a night out or for a situation where we're participating in an activity. I will have high hopes. I will want, I am a product of a world where all we do is watch rom-coms with extremely extravagant dates. Like, I expect to show up at a guy's house and have the floor lined with rose petals and candles everywhere and like a marry me sign, even though we're just on date 3. Like, I am expecting extravagance almost all the time, and I don't think once in my life have I gotten extravagance. Like, I've never walked into a scene that was like set up for me. Like, that's never fucking happened. I don't think people do that in real life, as far as my experience is. I don't care how many fucking videos you send me of proposals where everybody's setting up all kinds of shit all over the place. Like, that doesn't always happen. It doesn't work out like that. So if you want the romance, and if you want that experience that like you won't be let down by, plan it your fucking self. Like, if someone asks you on a date, I don't think it's crazy, like especially if you know the area better, you know the You know what you want to do. So if somebody says like, let's go on a date, where should we go? Kind of take the reins if you feel confident in it. Like I like to pick out restaurants that I want to go to because I have a running list of restaurants that I'm always trying to go to. There are a lot of places I haven't been. It's New York fucking city. And so if I'm asked like, oh, let's go out, where do you want to go? 9 times out of 10, I've been using that phrase a lot too today, 9 times out of 10. Almost always, I will choose the place because I know where I want to go. Like, I don't want you to suggest some place that I've already been to or some place that I already know is bullshit or some place that I plan to go with my friends in the near future. Like, you got to kind of figure that out and figure out what it is you want to do. But I don't think it's so bad to kind of put it in your hands. Like, no offense to guys, but usually girls come up with a better idea. Like they will, even the movies, like the movies is fun. Like if you go to a museum, if you go to whatever, guys don't think of those options. They have one track mind and it's bar, restaurant. And I feel like that's the only places they think they can go on dates. Or like, let's take a walk. Let's go uptown. Let's go downtown. Let's take a drive if you don't live in the city. Let's go to a vineyard. Let's go somewhere else. Like, I can't imagine a lot of guys putting a lot of thought into something like that. So if you are looking for someone to put some thought into your bullshit, then, maybe take the reins, plan it yourself. So I like that one. That's the end of this rules of dating list. I would rate that list maybe like a 6 out of 10. I think that a lot of those things were like maybe a little antiquated, maybe a little woke at the same time. Like, I don't know how that is possible to be both stuck in the past and overthinking it, but that's what that list felt like to me. Let's get into some of these. I feel like we have a lot of these DMs that I went through, so let's start it a little bit early before we go to our last break before last call. Let's do some shit like this. I feel like guys don't understand not to be an arrogant asshole. Yeah, I feel like that too. I feel like we were talking about this with that fucking sugar daddy. There are so many guys who just like, maybe they're putting their guard up, like maybe that's why I said in the beginning, like just be nice or whatever. There are so many guys who have their guard up going into a date as if like, the girl has to prove that they're chill enough to be there. And it's like they're putting them through their paces. It's like they're putting them through some kind of weird test to like make sure that they're cool and make sure that they'll like put up with their asshole behavior. But I think it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and we're feeling good. We don't accept that anymore. Like if somebody's treating me like an asshole or acting like an asshole, I'm out. Like that's it. Like that's the final straw. I'll put up with only so much. If you are like incorrigible, I don't want anything to do with you. Like how is it that you don't go into a date? Like, do you even want to be here? Like if you don't want to be on the date, don't be on the date. Don't show up to the date and then be an asshole. Makes no sense. Let's see. Go out and after the first drink, if bad vibes, you both leave respectfully. Yes, I think 100%. Like if you show up, this was just like my very first dating app date, the Riot date, where it was bad vibes because it was my fault. Like I made it bad vibes, and we at the end of the date, a polite hug and a goodbye. Like, and I never have spoken to him, thought about him, except for telling these stories, never again. I was like, nope, we did not click. That was not our vibes. We don't even need to pretend. We can just move forward and hope for the best for us both. Because honestly, if you get to a date, you have bad vibes, you suffer through it, 2 hours, you leave, you go home, you think about the date. Sometimes you'll get in your head being like, was it that bad? Was it maybe under a certain circumstance? Maybe he was in a bad mood. Maybe I'm in a bad mood. Maybe, just we need to go to a different place. We need to change up the vibe in a general way. No, just realize that it's bad. Realize that it sucked. Realize that wasn't the person for you. There's plenty of fish in the fucking sea. Like you don't need to come all in on this person. Like that's just not worth it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth their time. Just leave. Just go home. Let's see. Being on time or communicate if you'll be late. This is fucking insane. I can't even imagine in this world today somebody not letting someone else know that they're going to be late to a situation. Like yes, it's annoying when people are late. I have been late before, not on a date specifically, but because I'm too nervous. I'm usually ready like an hour before and I'm just like pacing around my house. But like, if you are going to be late to literally anything, there is no excuse not to let somebody know that you're running late, on the way, stuck in traffic, even if it's a lie. Even if you're still at your own fucking house, you haven't even left yet, and you're so late, you have to let someone know. Because otherwise, it just seems like how long are you expected to wait there for somebody? Like, I think I would wait a maximum of 15 minutes. Like I can't imagine waiting by myself at a table for longer than 15 minutes. Maybe just long enough to finish one solo drink, like one glass of wine by myself. But other than that, I'm fucking out. Like I am not waiting around for some some ghost who isn't even letting me know what the fuck is going on, where they are, who, like, are they coming at all? Like, I don't understand that at all. And I feel like I hear horror stories like this constantly where people just like don't show up, they show up blacked out, 40 minutes late. And it's like, that's a little bit on you too. If you're waiting for somebody for 40 minutes when they haven't communicated to you properly that they're gonna be late, why they're late, what's happening, whatever, you're also a fool. Like, I just think that that's foolish behavior. Okay. Let's hit our last break real quick, and then we'll finish the rest of the DMs. And welcome back to On the Other Line. We are entering our last segment called The Last Call. We're gonna keep going with the DMs. So let's just pop into them. I don't know how many are left. I think there's a lot. Okay, being on time or communicating. I just wax poetic on that. Polite to wait staff. That is, oh my God. I feel like in the year 2022, who is not nice to wait staff? Like, if you are not nice to servers, to hostesses, to anybody that is enhancing your experience while you're out, then you're a piece of shit. Like, I can't imagine if I were to ever, again, maybe I've just been lucky. I have never been around someone that's been like rude to wait staff before. I think I would blow my fucking top off. Like, I would be so pissed to watch somebody like treating someone who's serving us like shit. It would like sour them forever. Like, I don't think anybody that I know or hang out with acts like that, and they better fucking not. If I ever find out that somebody that I hang out with acts like that, they're about to get a world-class bitch out from me, because it's disgusting. And if you go on a date and someone is immediately rude to anybody, like I said, who's enhancing your experience, then you like stand up and leave. Like, there's just no way. Like, you have to put your big girl pants on and bitch them out at the table if you have to. Like, that is completely unacceptable. No way. Listening as much as you're speaking. Yes, this is what I was talking about before. It is so hard to do this. Like, I don't know why it's so hard. Like, I am genuinely interested in what people have to say and stories and talking and whatever. I just feel like there's so much that I also want to say. Like, I'll hear from people. Gia, do you feel like that when you're having a conversation with people? Like, I feel like I'm like not alone in this, but I feel like when having conversations with people, it is so hard to not interject every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't, it's impossible.
I mean, and especially when it's like stuff about, like, if I can have the opportunity to talk about myself, I will take it immediately. And yes, I always find that I like get nervous about the fact that I'm always talking over people about like myself.
Same.
And I'm like, fuck, I need to stop doing that.
It's beyond. I do it all the time. I do it at work. I do it in my life. Like, I do it constantly. But it's like, I think part of it is like, I don't want to forget. Like, you're telling this story, and I have stories that also relate to the story, and I don't want to forget.
Yes.
So I'm interjecting, being like, oh my God, also remind me after. Oh my God. It's just like, I get too excited or something.
I can't go like 10 seconds without like saying at least something.
No, I cannot. It's next to impossible. But yeah, I mean, listening as much as you're speaking, it's so important, because I hate being talked over personally. So like, when I'm talking over other people, I'm like, why am I doing this? I hate this. So why am I now doing it? And I feel like it's just, it's a thing you have to do, especially on a first date. But you don't want to like look like you can't have a conversation, look like you're not listening, look like you only care about yourself, especially on like the first couple of dates. Like, you have to really, make sure you know what the fuck you're doing. Like, you can't just, I don't know, you can't come in and be a dick about it.
A problem that I have when I like go out to eat is like, I'm not listening to what the person's saying, is because I'm listening to like the conversation next to me.
Oh, 100%.
I have to eavesdrop on like
I'm
everybody's
constantly
conversation.
doing that. And the worst thing too is I'll do that, and it'll be like a couple next to me or behind me. I'll be like, oh my God, are you hearing? Oh my God, can you hear what they're saying? And I can't. They're across the fucking table. They have no idea what I'm talking about. So they're in the middle of a story, and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's getting really juicy back here. It's like,
no, I'm like,
why?
I'm sorry, but I'd rather hear like what these random strangers like their drama than hear like anything that we like have to talk about right now.
Exactly, right. Like, I don't want to have to hear about your family and your siblings. I want to hear about the gossip on the side of me. Like, that's how I'm wired. Like, that's always how it's going to be. I don't know how you grow out of that, or if you ever get out of that, but it's hard. It's too hard. Okay. For you to go into a date knowing you're hot shit and the other person is lucky to be in your presence. I kept this on here even though I was talking shit about that a little bit before. This is important to think about yourself if you're nervous. Like, I feel like don't go in cocky, go in confident. And this to me is like confidence. Like, I'm walking in like, yes, I'm hot. Like, they're lucky that I'm going on this date, whatever. But then don't let that attitude translate to how you're conducting yourself during the date. Like don't act standoffish. Don't act like, oh well, like don't ever say like you're lucky to be here, like in the fucking date. That's asinine. I've never, like, don't ever do that. But I feel like if you go in with that confidence, it makes it a little bit easier to have fun. It makes it a little bit easier maybe after the fact to think about like, all right, that day went well because I'm hot shit and because I'm great. So like if he doesn't like me for me, then tough shit, you know what I mean? Like let's move on, let's leave, doesn't matter. But yeah, confidence, not cockiness, I would take from this one. Okay, open the door, walk on the outside of your date on sidewalks, and don't be a douche. These are nice things. I think that this kind of just falls into the category of chivalry. Like if, like open the door, obviously. I got a million open the door. It seems like guys are out here not opening the door for their women, and I feel like that's just it's just a sweet gesture. Like sure, does it really matter? Am I totally offended if you didn't open the door for me and I got there first and I opened it first? No, I don't give a fuck. I like to open a door. Like it's not a big deal. But if you're opening a door and going in, like you open it and you go in before me and kind of, oh, I'm not gonna shut off my wall. You go in before me and you're like kind of leaving me the door, don't let the door hit you in your face on your way in. Like it's just that kind of vibe. That's fucked up. The walk on the outside of your date on sidewalks, I like that. Just, you know, there's 1 degree of separation between me and death. If a car comes up onto the curb or something like that, it'll get you and not me. That's nice. That's the same vibe as like when someone sleeps at your house or, you know, you sleep over someone else's house, the girl always sleeps on the side of the bed that's farthest away from the door because the murderers will get you first. That's just chivalry. That's just nice and thoughtful, really, is what it is. Communication and direct, would rather be direct than anything else. This is something that I hold very dear. Directness and honesty. I think that honesty might pop up here later, but like they're so important in conversations like this to know exactly what the fuck is going on. Like if you, and you can kind of gauge the vibe, like I said earlier, like you don't have to immediately lay all your chips on the table and say like, I want a relationship, I have a 5-year plan, I've got this going on, blah, 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 blah. Like you don't have to do all those things, but you do have to be direct in like how you're approaching the situation. Like you can't come in and be coy and shy and like, oh, I don't know, does he even like me? If like you have all these plans in your back pocket. Like go in, if you want all those things, go in confidently, like go in and be like, yeah, you know, I've thought about it, I've talked about it, whatever. Like just make it a part of casual conversation, and people will appreciate honesty and directness above all else. I would hope. Maybe that's just something I tell myself because I'm blunt and borderline rude, but you know, I think it's important. Reciprocation. If you're the only one reaching out, they're not into you. This I think is really, really important when it comes to like texting and stuff. Like when you're trying to make plans or go on dates or hang out or whatever, like don't bombard somebody and think that they are still into you. Like let there be a little bit of give and take. Let there be a 50-50. But then don't also at the same time, like this fucking list said, wait 2 weeks to hear from somebody. That's insane. Just feel it out, make sure that you're not being weird, and have a middle ground. Not using your phone during dinner. I'm on the fence about this. I think yes and no. Don't use your phone while we're like eating our entree. Don't use your phone while we're having a conversation. Like, but if you pull up your phone like once, like you go to the bathroom, like somebody goes to the bathroom, you pull your phone out, obviously. I'm not gonna like scold you for being on your phone, but if we're in the middle of a conversation, yeah, don't like be on your fucking phone. Also, I feel like most times I'm bringing my phone out during a meal to like show pictures or reference a tweet or a story or something. So I feel like your phone is always kind of there, but definitely don't be obnoxious and like ignoring somebody because you're on your phone. Fresh breath, clipped nails, very fucking important. Breath is so important. I'm weird about, like very weird about bad breath. I am like constantly flossing, constantly brushing my teeth, gum, mints, all of it, all the time, because I never want to be a person who has bad breath. I feel like there are a whole subset of people who just don't even acknowledge the fact that they have bad breath. Like if you drink a coffee and you don't look for a mint or a piece of gum later on and you just go the rest of the day with that fucking coffee breath, you're crazy. Like you're out of control. Your breath smells. Like just confirmed, your breath smells. Don't go to a date like that. Don't think that it doesn't just because like, oh, I've eaten and drank all day, like whatever, your breath smells. Brush your teeth. And clip your nails. Dirty fingernails are long and gross, you know? Don't black out on the first date. Yep, definitely don't do that. Like I said, I did that. It was a nightmare. Don't do it. They like your parents and vice versa. Is that still dating? I would say, yeah, that's like advanced dating. You have to like each other's parents. That's hard, or at least tolerate. I wouldn't say you have to like, I would say tolerate, for sure. Being honest about the vibe you have for one another, no need to BS and waste time. Facts, if you don't like each other, don't talk to each other. If you like each other a lot, hang out a lot. unlimited budgets for Napa vacation houses. This was submitted by my bestie. We were planning another Napa trip and we were talking budgets, and it would just be really nice if I had some rich ass billionaire funding the whole trip. Partner must have nice teeth, dating deal breaker. I'm like that too. I like nice teeth. Like if you have terrible teeth and you're really great, I'm not gonna say no way, but I mean, you know, we got braces now. You can fix your teeth. Eye contact shows you're listening and interested. I'm a big eye contact girl. Eye contact is very seductive, very sexy, so why not? Let's do one more. When to delete dating apps after seeing someone? I would say the minute that you establish that you guys are in a relationship, you delete, or you sign out of your dating accounts. Like, you don't have to fucking delete them unless you're married, but like, don't go on them, don't be active on them, don't get caught being active on them, because that's fucking insane. Now let's do we have time for one more? No, let's stop it now because we don't have time for one more. But thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. I hope this was helpful to anybody out there who's looking for the rules of dating. I will see you next week. Mwah, mwah.